Today, we're going to talk about the indie games that have had the biggest impact and influence on the gaming industry. Please note that this is based on my subjective opinion, so if I missed any, let us know in the comment section. Without further ado, let's get into the list. Vampire Survivors is a roguelite where you face endless waves of enemies. It's simple but incredibly addictive, with tons of upgrades and power-ups. Each run feels unique, and the chaos is pure fun. Vampire Survivors also introduced a whole new genre to the market, with some games even calling themselves Vampire Survivor-likes. It's a reminder that sometimes simple concepts executed well can be incredibly engaging and highly replayable. Vampire Survivors is a fresh take on the genre that's hard to put down, with simple gameplay you can pick up anytime. Without a doubt, it's one of the major waves in recent gaming history. Cave Story is an indie masterpiece made by one person. It's a side-scrolling action-adventure with a great story, tight controls, and memorable characters. It helped kickstart the indie game movement, showing that small teams could create amazing games. So, what made the game special in its era? It's a simple linear game with exploration elements and upgrade mechanics, though not on the level of Metroidvanias. The game also has an amazing story and soundtrack, making it a classic. Its success opened doors and provided inspiration for many indie developers, demonstrating how simple ideas can turn into something amazing.
I'll destroy you.
Hades is a roguelike dungeon crawler with a Greek mythology twist. You play as Zagreus, trying to escape the underworld. The gameplay is fast, fluid, and addictive, with a great mix of action and storytelling. The characters and voice acting are top-notch, with of course depth in its gameplay. The gameplay is smooth, fast, challenging, and surprisingly the combat varied enough. Hades set a new standard for roguelikes, proving that strong narratives and replayable gameplay can go hand in hand. In the modern era, Hades certainly and without a doubt one of the best roguelike you can find. Hotline Miami is a fast-paced, ultra-violent top-down shooter that emphasizes quick reflexes and strategic planning. The neon-soaked visuals and thumping soundtrack are iconic. It's brutal but rewarding, with a story that's as twisted as the gameplay. Hotline Miami's style and intensity left a huge mark on indie games, inspiring many with its bold design choices. It's one of the best and most popular indie games ever, influencing countless others. Even a decade later, Hotline Miami and its sequel remain among the most fun and brutal indie games to consider. Hollow Knight is a gorgeous, challenging Metroidvania. You explore a vast, interconnected world full of secrets and tough enemies. While there were other Metroidvanias prior to Hollow Knight, the game perfects the core gameplay elements and seamlessly blends Souls-like elements into the experience. The hand-drawn art and atmospheric music are stunning. It's a masterclass in design, with tight controls and deep lore. Hollow Knight proved that indie games could rival AAA titles in quality and depth. It's a must-play for anyone who loves exploration, platforming, and challenging combat. Braid is a puzzle platformer with a twist. You can manipulate time. Each level has unique mechanics that make you think differently. The story is deep and emotional, with a surprising ending. While Braid may not be revolutionary, it is exceptionally polished in all its core aspects. The graphics, audio, story, and puzzles are perfectly in sync with each other. It's also one of the indie games that captured the attention of mainstream gaming. Braid demonstrated that games can be art, seamlessly blending narrative and gameplay. Penumbra is all about atmosphere and psychological scares, with no weapons, just running and hiding. The fear factor is off the charts, showing that horror games don't need jump scares to be terrifying. Penumbra is one of the pioneers of modern atmospheric horror games. Its focus on story and immersion influenced many modern horror games, proving that sometimes less is more. Even now, the game still feels scary. Following this game were the Amnesia series. Without a doubt, it's one of the legendary indie games with quite a legacy. Five Nights is a jump scare fest where you play as a night guard at a creepy pizzeria. It's simple yet terrifying, with animatronics that come to life. While the gameplay is straightforward, the tension and lore kept players and viewers hooked. The lore has expanded into its sequels, and even a movie based on the game has been made. It showed that horror games don't need complex mechanics to be effective. The game's popularity also rose due to influencers creating content and streams from it. Five Nights' success spawned a massive franchise and inspired a wave of indie horror games, becoming one of the best in the market. Super Meat Boy is a brutal platformer with precise controls and challenging levels. It's hard but fair, and every death teaches you something new. This game jump-started a subgenre called precision platformers, which are more challenging than your typical platformer. The game's quick respawns keep you hooked, pushing you to try again and again. It's difficult but not frustrating enough to drive you away. Super Meat Boy showed that difficulty can be fun and rewarding. It was a huge hit in the indie scene, proving that there's a market for tough yet simple and satisfying games. The Binding of Isaac is a dark, twisted roguelike with immense replay value. Each run is unique, featuring random items, enemies, and levels. It's addictive because you never know what crazy power-ups you'll get. The game's mix of action, exploration, and permadeath has inspired many other indie hits. The Binding of Isaac bridges the gap between old-school roguelikes and modern iterations. Its gameplay has heavily influenced contemporary roguelikes such as Enter the Gungeon. The game exemplifies how combining bizarre themes with solid gameplay can create something both charming and unforgettable. Undertale is among the most popular pixel art RPGs, boasting a considerable cult following for various reasons. It deviates from the typical kill and grind gameplay. Instead, players progress in unexpected ways not found in generic RPGs. A crucial aspect involves the player's choice to kill, flee, or befriend monsters, influencing the plot and overall game progression. What makes this game stand out is how charming the characters are, how they behave based on your actions, and how the narrative unfolds. You will understand why it has gathered so much popularity after playing the game. Stardew Valley is a love letter to farming sims, but with so much heart. You inherit a farm, grow crops, raise animals, and even get to know the quirky villagers. It's super relaxing, but also rewarding. What's cool is that it was made by one guy, showing that indie developers can create massive hits. As one of the most popular farming sims, it shows us that sometimes laid-back, relaxing games are what a lot of people need. It kind of provides the escape that people need during their busy lives. Even better, the game is constantly updated with content and multiplayer, reinforcing itself as one of the best indie games ever. Terraria was born in the same era as Minecraft. A lot of people said Terraria is like Minecraft, but with a 2D twist and a greater focus on adventure and combat. Back then, I saw many debates between fans of both games, but in my opinion, Terraria stood on its own, even during the earlier era. You dig, build, fight bosses, and explore vast underground caverns. It's addicting because there's always something new to discover or craft. The game is huge, despite its simple graphics, showing that gameplay is king. It also keeps getting updated, showing how passionate the developers are. RollerCoaster Tycoon lets you design and manage your dream amusement park. You build insane coasters, manage finances, and keep your guests happy. Its detailed simulation and creative freedom made it a hit. A lot of people loved the mix of strategy and creativity, from crafting thrilling rides to solving park problems. The game's success showed that simulation games could be both fun and deeply engaging. It inspired many other management and tycoon games, proving that a great concept with excellent execution can create a timeless classic. RollerCoaster Tycoon remains a beloved game, influencing the genre for Dwarf Fortress is a beast of a game where you manage a colony of dwarves. It's insanely detailed, with a world that generates unique histories, cultures, and stories every time you play. Yup, if you noticed, the game also inspired other legends such as Minecraft and RimWorld, one of the most popular indie management games. The graphics are super basic, of course, due to its age, but the depth is unparalleled. It's influenced tons of games with its complexity and procedural generation, showing that a game's true power lies in its systems and not just its visuals. Even now, the game is amazing, and I can't comprehend how revolutionary it was back then. Have you ever wondered where the terms roguelite and roguelike come from? Rogue is the granddaddy of all roguelikes. It's a dungeon crawler where every playthrough is different because it's procedurally generated. You die a lot, but that's the point. Each run teaches you something new. Its influence is massive, spawning countless games with permadeath and procedural generation in this modern era. Amazing, right? The game was released in DOS, with graphics that are not appealing at all nowadays. But the legacy it brings is astonishing, given the sheer number of games in the genre today.
For me, negative.
Counter-Strike started as a Half-Life mod in 1999 and became the founding father of many competitive shooters today. Now known as Counter-Strike 2, developed by Valve, the game has gone through many phases from 1.0, Condition 0, and more, up to the current CS2. The game is tactical, intense, and has a surprising amount of depth in its mechanics, especially in positioning and team play. It also boasts huge esports tournaments with large prize pools. Because of that, it is one of the best and most influential shooters ever. Wolfenstein 3D is the OG first-person shooter. It puts you in the shoes of a badass soldier fighting Nazis in a 3D maze. It was revolutionary at the time, setting the stage for Doom and every FPS that followed. Yep, its developer is the same as the Doom and Quake series back when ID Software was just a small team. The fast-paced action and immersive 3D environments blew minds and laid the groundwork for the entire genre. It's a piece of gaming history that you've got to respect. Even now, for a nostalgic feeling, you can look up the boomer shooter genre, as it tries to retain the charm that games like Wolfenstein 3D and other 90s shooters had. DoTA, or Defense of the Ancients, is a game changer that turned a simple Warcraft 3 mod by IceFrog into the foundation of the MOBA genre. It combines deep strategy with fast-paced, team-based combat, where players control unique heroes aiming to destroy the enemy's ancient. This mix of tactical gameplay and intense action captivated players with its competitive aspects. DoTA's influence also led to the rise of esports, with games like League of Legends and Dota 2 becoming global phenomena. It is even the grandfather of mobile MOBA games nowadays. While nowadays everybody knows Minecraft and associates it with Microsoft, the original developer of Minecraft is Mojang Specifications. Back then, the game was such a huge hit that it heavily impacts the gaming scene today. Its sandbox-style 3D Lego lets your creativity run wild. If we look back at the original game, the gameplay was relatively simple. Now I'm astonished by the amount of content and how much it has expanded compared to the earlier versions. Minecraft isn't just a game. It's a cultural phenomenon that has influenced countless other games.